Hello guys, and welcome back to Vulcan Arena. In this one we have Game 3 between Jagdsauce and Mystical Walrus in a best of 3. And in this one we have the map Tsel. On the Soviet side, Jagdsauce is going to be using the second Guards, and on the Axis side, Mystical is going to be using the first Lovas. So this is an interesting matchup caused by Sodbot. Jagdsauce and Mystical decided to use a full random setup for their final game. So Sodbot decided the divisions and the map, and that's what they've been assigned. So Jagdsauce deciding to go for a balanced deployment type with his second Guards, and Mystical going for the Vanguard with the first Lovas, which I think is smart because the Lovas not going to have much late game staying power versus the second Guard. Second Guards being an A tier division, very aggressive, very strong, and the Lovas, I think they have a lot of potential to basically push in multiple areas at once with their cheap units, but will struggle if they try and go toe-to-toe with the units of the second Guards. And the second Guards does have quite a lot of T-34s to deal with things like the Terrans. So it's a very, very difficult matchup, but I think the way that Mystical would want to do this is basically spread out cheap forces as much as he can and just kind of be a nuisance across the front, trying to secure as many points as possible at the same time. Whereas Jagdsauce's approach is more likely to be more concentrated with his powerful units, and basically making sure that he supports those powerful units in order to make ground. So that's what I'm kind of looking for going into this matchup. Just need to make sure that I don't keep this sped up when I have the menu closed at the bottom. We do see up on this top side we have the Jagdpanzer. We've got some Roham Akasok and the Lovas. Further down, the Jagdpanzer 38. We've got the 75mm artillery, is that? And then we have some Lovas and the Arkaz and some more Lovas and the Roham Akasok. On the bottom side we have the Felderitor Yaro and the Lovas there as well. Oh, this is the infantry support gun. Okay. The Hungarian support gun. And then a couple more Akasok on the bottom side, the Arkaz there with the Jagdpanzer and the Felderitor Yaro. A couple of Focke-Wulf 189s. These do have the 4 50-kilogram bombs. So they're going to be looking for the bombing strike onto the infantry early on. Jagdsauce going for the Zapari push with the Panzerschrecks to follow up, just to try and make as much ground as possible. Although there is actually what looks like an M17. The ZSU M17 at the start is going to definitely force back these Focke-Wulf 182s. Bit of a risky move there from Mystical, keeping that in the air over the top of the M17, but thankfully those bombs did hit the mark onto the AA, so that's going to be pinned and therefore not being able to finish off this aircraft. So big old push coming in on the bottom side, triple T-34, actually quadruple. We got the Razvedka variant and the Command variant amongst two normal variants there, and they're going to be pushing in hard, followed up by a T-34-85 OBR 1943. We see the Yak-9 Normandy coming in to try and shoot down this recon aircraft that's been hanging about. We do also see the infantry gun goes down there to the T-34s. That is not what Mystical wants to see, but the Jagdpanzer is in a decent position to potentially take out the T-34s, but it has been firing its HE at the Cavalia, so Jagdsauce knows it's there. He's going to be strafing it with the Yak-9. He's going to be trying to kill it now with the T-34-76s. One crew killed, is that the Razvedka variant? Yeah, it's gone, that's been taken care of, but the shooter knock is not ideal. The Jagdpanzer is going to be forced back. So, Lovas in the middle, these could potentially be getting aggressive here. The Hungarians do have some really nice infantry, like they're quite healthy squads, you know, you get 13 men on a squad, so you can have them be a real nuisance, like they're really difficult to clean up. And over on the side of Jagdsauce, he's reliant on Guardia, which are probably some of the weaker infantry from the Russian side. I just saw the AA there being destroyed before it even unloaded, and the Jagdpanzer is now falling back. We also have the T-34-85 in the mix, so Mystical's in a really, really awful spot. The Arcastist can't do anything, and the Jagdpanzer's falling back. The Turan 2s are on the way to help out. It's surprising to see those coming in Phase A, but in this case they're going to be required because nothing else is there to stop that push currently. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Mystical is now pushing forwards with his Lovas, which is nice to see. But the abundance of T-34-76s is something that looks like Jagdsauce is going to take advantage of. And so even if Mystical does move up this Jagdpanzer, at close range, the T-34-76 still has a decent time killing those. Or the Roham Arkasok going to get pushed on by the Saperi and surrendered. Nice little cap there from Jagdsauce on that top side. Meanwhile on the bottom, strong push coming through there. The incendiary hit does manage to kill off the Hetzer. And now we have the 4 Turan 2s coming up. Now ideally what you do with these tanks is spread them out along here. So you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you push them up with an attack move order when the tanks are close enough. But it looks like Mystical's just going to go headlong in. This is not really going to work out too well. Well, there goes one. Oh, trades the T-34-76 command. Second Turan goes down. These Turans are quite cheap, 30 points a pop, as opposed to 45 points. Load of wounded there. This Turan 2. Can it get a shot off? Bounces. That's not good news. Gun jam. That's 4 Turans, all dead. And the salient on the bottom side is going to be opening up after that one, that's for sure. Alright, in the middle, it's going to be up to Mystical to just start moving forwards his infantry. He needs to get these Lovas pushing in towards these flags, making sure he's probing in as many places as he can to be annoying. Like getting the kill with the Jagdpanzer onto the T-34 is very important in the mid. It allows his infantry to continue to push forwards. But he just needs to make sure that he's doing that ASAP, because Jagdsauce is only going to get stronger by the minute. And with this breakthrough on the bottom side, it's not the end of the world because you've only lost 2 points. And if you can find those 2 points back elsewhere, it would just end up like the last game where Mystical owned the top side of the map and Jagdsauce owned the bottom side of the map. Like, you just kind of equal things out that way. But at the moment, Jagdsauce has found his breakthrough, but Mystical has not, because I think like Mystical relied too much on that Hetzer on the bottom side. And I would have liked to have seen these Hetzers be something like the Turan 1s instead, and then you can have one with like every single unit of Lovesh. Like, that would actually work out quite well, I think. So that's what I think I would like to have seen in that case. Now this T-34 is just going through. It's going to cap that land spawn. That's going to make things very difficult on the bottom side of the map here. The T-34s, the other T-34 is going to be continuing through here. We did see a plane go down. Focke-Wulf 190, or 189, sorry. Going to get strafed by the Yak 9 Normandy. That's definitely going to be a goner. Rather unremarkable game though so far. Just a very concentrated push here from Jagdsauce, winning its way through, whilst elsewhere limited sort of engagements between the infantry. I'd like to see these Roham Arkasok move forwards though, and attempt to take out the Guardia, because the Guardia, their Mosin Nagants are not that great. So you can see that just a 2-man squad can get the better of these Guardia quite well. So the infantry advantage is really what Mystical should be playing off. And he is to a certain extent, but I don't think there's enough infantry on the board to really like say that that's what he's doing. Anyway, the Tsel going to be getting the better of the infantry on the bottom side. T-34s have this pretty much fully under control, and there is potential actually for Jagdsauce to take a second of 4 reinforcement points, which would put Mystical in a pretty awful position. We do actually see Jagdsauce going to be pushing into the town with these Guards potentially, revealing the Lovas. You will see. Oh, that's a rough kill. The 45mm there coming in, killing the Hetzer. The 40mm 36M here tries to fight back, but the 45mm gets into cover. Sneaky kill indeed. The Hetzer in the mid has managed to actually push through onto this flag, which is quite something. In the middle, the Jagdsauce with their HE have managed to get the better of the Autos. We got the Lovas coming in there. Those Lovas, they do have Panzerfaust, so these T-34s are going to have to be careful. We see the Turan too. That can also engage these T-34s at close range. Surprised to see Mystical bringing the Jagdsauce towards the T-34s. Maybe didn't see them there initially. Or maybe he's just trying to help pin those so that the Hetzer can come in and get the kill. But if these Autos actually recover and then get a grenade onto the Hetzer there, that would be unfortunate to say the least. And the Tsel are still good. They've managed to deal with the Jagdsauce so far. And they still have a Panzerfaust to use. Although the Lovas trying to catch up here are going to be spotted by engaging the Tsel. Managed to find 1 T-34. Very nice engagement indeed. Now on this bottom side, we do see the Jagdsauce finding their way into the town there, but second reinforcement point on that bottom side is now gone. So Jagdsauce full control over the bottom side of the map, but in the middle, it looks like Mystical is going to be able to get some decent shots here. The Arcaz Tist not quite able to get the kill with the Faust Patron. Yeah, you can see the push here from the infantry is actually working out relatively well. He's forcing Jagdsauce to commit with more infantry, and that is basically what you want to see. Jagdsauce reacting with infantry because the Hungarians will have the infantry advantage. So the bad thing comes is when Jagdsauce actually invests into tanks like this, and this will prevent any infantry that the Hungarians have from moving across any open ground, which is then when you're going to have to start relying on smoke, which makes things just like twice as hard to do anything really. Mizaka start getting into position though. Not going to unload, they're just looking for the breakthrough to capture that point, and we're now seeing 13 to 11. So yeah, even though this bottom side is completely under control of Jagdsauce, it's not like this is over in any sense of the word, because there is potential elsewhere on the map. There's still a lot of resources down on this bottom side that Jagdsauce is going to have to keep here in order to prevent these areas from being taken. But you can see that this one has been taken back. We've got the Ju-87 D5 coming in. Let's see if Mystical can have as much success as Jagdsauce did with those. Look at the Turan train though. These beastly little tanks coming in. They're all zooming to the bottom side. Not necessarily sure if that's the best use of those units, but the Ju-87 coming in. Jagdsauce looks like he's well and truly ready for that. Of the Yak-9s come in for the strafing run. And well, goodbye to the Ju-87s. No AA on the side of Jagdsauce, but he doesn't need it with the fighters there. Can the 40mm stop these fighters from killing the other Ju-87? What is this even going for? It's actually going for the shot onto the 45mm, like the bombing strike there, but does end up going down. That's a very expensive loss for Mystical, and it seems as though he's definitely not having the same effectiveness as Jagdsauce had in the previous game. Ju-87 suffering the same fate as the first game, where the 4 Ju-87 bombers went down. Yeah, the Turan ones heading down to this bottom side. They might be able to overrun this T-34-76, But they're not going to be getting a flag back anytime soon. That's the trouble with this counterattack, is there's no flag here to be contesting. Whilst Jagdsauce is now committing his tank forces up towards the centre. So these tanks are going to arrive on the bottom, and there is what? There's 10, 11 tanks, so 330 points worth of units invested into an area where there's not a single flag. I mean, you have this flag, obviously, that you might be able to capture back, but with the positioning of this infantry, it just makes things like terribly awkward at this point to find them and take them out in time. Meanwhile, obviously, the T-34-76 is now revealing themselves, pushing through here. The leader going to be going down there, and yeah, just a big old push now from Jagdsauce coming in towards the center. He's bringing in the Guardia with the DP and some Saperi. He's got some standard Guardia squads. And these Guardia with the DP, they are actually fantastic in longer range engagements. The Arcasoc have used up both of their HE grenades, so these DPs on target are going to rip them to shreds, and the Arcasoc can't really do anything about it except for maybe run away. But the Yak-1B Normandy going to be coming in for the strafing run as well, helping pin down that infantry squad. We've got a couple units of Guardia. They're just going to carry on into the enemy front line. Now we're seeing the Turans finally arrive with the engagement onto the T-34-76. The sheer amount of these will probably cause enough criticals to get the kill. But that's probably the only reason why, because the T-34-76 hit here, you can see, is just tanking those shots. The Ju-88A4 even coming in for the bombing strike to take care of that, and yeah, the spalling crit ends up killing it off. So the Turan's going to continue on that bottom side, but are they going to make too much ground? I'm not entirely sure they are. We see the Turan in the center going down, the T-34-85 is in a really nice position there. And these T-34-76 is now moving back to the bottom side to defend this point that Jagdsauce has under his control, whilst the infantry just kind of pushes back through the middle and just sort of solidifies his point on this map. Focke-Wulf 190 F8 comes in. Yak-9 covered by its AA. Definitely going to be winning that engagement, but the Focke-Wulf's pretty fast, so should be able to get out alive. Never mind. Looks like it's going down. Yak-9 manages to catch up and find the kill. So pretty significant kill there, actually, because the investment into that aircraft is not cheap at this point in the game when you're already quite far behind. And now the T-34-85 and the 1943 variant of the T-34-76 are sat on this hill. These Turans are, yeah, in a pretty sad state. They're going to have to just fast move like Mystical is doing towards the enemy to just close the range and therefore find potentially penetration at closer ranges. But since some of these are still getting picked off, it's a tough position to be in. Meanwhile, Jagdsauce has secured another point in the center, 15-9 now between the two players. Can the Turans do something at close range now they've come around the corner? T-34s both get their shots off first, and pretty much every single shot from the Turans is bouncing off the frontal armor to eventually get the incendiary crit to find the kill, and that's going to be a crew kill straight away. Nice. Two T-34s down. The other one on this hill does need to be careful. Snipes the one at a distance though, which is nice. T-34-85 is going to be a hell of a nut to crack in this situation. Does find the gun jam onto one of the Turans. He's going to have to crit this T-34-85 to death. Yeah, the gun jam is perfect. Now he can continue to charge. So the counterplay, or the counterattack, has worked to a certain extent, taking out a lot of the armor. But I mentioned how the infantry would be like pretty sticky and hard to get rid of. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. The tanks are going to end up getting themselves surrounded. The M17 actually ends up killing off both of the Arcasoc as they come in to reinforce. We see the rockets coming in from the IL-2. That's going to force them back. And with the Guardia nearby, they're going to be able to hit those with the PTRD as they run away and show side armor. Focke-Wulf 190 comes in for the strafing run. But that's going to get hit hard by the AA. Meanwhile, Jagdsauce still putting some pressure on. Lovas coming in to challenge the Gavardia, but just not really going to be able to do much. These tanks are all surrounded now. T-34-76s coming in from the other side. They're going to be able to take out any reinforcements. The Turan 1 going to be going down there. The leader variant and the rest of these are falling back, or they have gun jam. There's only like a couple tanks that are unaffected now, which is really bad. Because now these T-34-76 1942s with their 90 front armor are actually going to be able to clean these up quite nicely. So Mystical's in a very, very tough spot. Invested a lot of points into try and take back this flag, but doesn't quite get there. Just because, as I mentioned, Jagdsauce saw this attack coming a mile off. The tanks came in from up here, and all the time that they were coming down this road, I think Jagdsauce pretty much knew they were there. So he had so much time to bring his forces back, whilst also still providing the shots onto the center. That's going to be a couple aircraft going down. It looks like the Yak 1B Normandy was traded for the Ju-88, with the Focke-Wulf finding that kill. But the Yak 9B, or the Yak 9 Normandy, is going to get into range potentially. Can he find the kill? Nope. Unsuccessful in that one. Ju-88 comes in. Weapons jammed. But the bomb bay door's not coming out on that Ju-88, and well, there goes the rest of the Turans. They've been cleaned up. And that's not going to be a dead Ju-88. Very, very tanky there. Focke-Wulf 190 comes out to engage those aircraft. Another Ju-88 coming in with the bombing strike. That one completely misses the mark. The 2v1 ensues onto the Focke-Wulf 190, and that is going to be a very dead aircraft. Fighter goes down. Bomber soon to follow. Mystical losing a lot of assets. That Ju-88 just managing to get out. But yeah, the loss onto both of the Focke-Wulfs previously is pretty tough to bear, because it's a lot of points invested into no gain. And Jagdsauce here with the Saperi, they're putting pressure onto this flag, taking that, so 16-8. Again, just not really, I think, enough reliance on the infantry and the light tanks. They're kind of like a cavalry division for a reason, in the sense that you have to basically use your waves of light tanks or light to medium tanks to try and make ground. And I think Mystical, just like lack of knowledge of the division, didn't really help his cause here. So yeah, it's pretty tough. The second Guards definitely outmatching the Lovas as it is, and in this case just kind of pronounced by the fact that there wasn't that entire map pressure. And the 45mm does take out the Nimrod there, so that's another expensive unit going down. You don't get many of these Nimrods, but I think Mystical was just forced to use that as more of a close range support weapon, because he's severely lacking the other units at his disposal. So yeah, deciding to use that as it was. Now we're going to be seeing the Pack 40 coming in there on that bridge. See if that can find a couple kills, but only 4 minutes and 5 seconds now until defeat for Mystical. And with the control over the bottom side of this map, Jagdsauce is pretty much sitting pretty. He's even got another group of T-34-76s sitting up on the ridge here, covering this reinforcing road, which is going to make it terribly difficult for Mystical to make any ground. Although it doesn't look like they could aim in time. Although as they come across there, well, there goes one. Is the second one going to die before it unloads? It is. So a couple infantry dying for free there. Never something you want to see. Now IL-2 going to take some severe damage from the 36M. And this might save the day. These AA can be very strong. They do have the 75mm of penetration on their AP shells. So if they come up against things like the T-34-76s, They do have percent chance to penetrate against the standard variant, the 1943. The 1942 variant with the 90 front armor, though, you can see can tank those shots a little bit better, especially at that range. So it's actually going to get the better of that AA. And that's going to be another expensive loss. The Hasselrock, they're going to go down. Another Hasselrock dead as well. Mystical getting very sloppy here towards the end of this game. Again, another 2 Hasselrock coming in on the top side. They're getting hit hard by the Guardia. These Hasselrock are great because they do have 16 men, which is very nice. But I'm surprised we haven't seen any like Goyo Sorashok and stuff like that to accompany the Lovish or Lovis and the Akasop. Unless the Lovish can't get Goyo Sorashok. But I'd be surprised if they don't. Either way, Jagdsauce still full control of this map, encircling the last of the units on the bottom side. He's even going to be using a Katyusha on the 40mm Pack 40 here. That is rough. Is it going to get the kill? Not quite. 1 health AT gun. Could turn things around. Ju-88's coming in for the bombing strikes onto these aircraft. Going to be supported by a Focke-Wulf. But can they stop the double Yak 1B? There is the 36M 40mm that might be able to force back these fighters, allowing the Focke-Wulf 190 to get the kill. The bombing strikes coming in there. Well, say goodbye to the Saperi. They're not the most cost-efficient strikes, but now we see the engagement between the Yak 1Bs and the Focke-Wulf 190. That Focke-Wulf's going to want to leave, but can't really until the engine overheat is over. That's going to be a dead Yak 1 though, as it flies over the AA for a prolonged period of time. Gavardia just holding that bottom side of the map there. T-34s pushing for their 18th flag. Only 15 seconds left on the clock now. Avto's pushing up, and it looks like Second Guards just managed to completely overrun Mystical's Vanguard. After Phase A, there was just no steam left in that division at all. Especially with the Turans being purchased in Phase A. I think Mystical didn't leave himself much to play with in Phase B or C. So after 25 minutes and 5 seconds, Jagdsauce takes the victory. 2,650 kills to 1,155 losses. And is going to be the victor of the first ever Vulcan Arena. Which is very, very cool. Let's have a look at these kills. The T-34-85 that was brought in at the start picked off the Jagdpanzer 38T, killed off 3 of the Turan 2s, 2 of the Turan 1s. There was the T-34-76s, which match up to those Turans so damn well. And the Second Guards has plenty of them, and you can see they're getting 2 for 1 here, which is exactly what you expect from these T-34-76s. So nicely done, and I think Jagdsauce early on identified that he would need to spread out a few more of those T-34-76s, but at the same time, that's exactly what I think Mystical needed to do in order to sort of put pressure on multiple areas of the map at the same time. Get those Turan 1s in early on to support any Lovish, and then you can really make a lot of ground, I think, in various areas at once, rather than focusing all of your eggs in one basket. This Jagdpanzer, it did manage to kill 2 T-34s, but just got overrun. The Turan 2 there, managing to get a kill. If you see like a Turan taking out 1 tank, that's good. That's good value. And that's how the Lovish work. They basically get those 1-to-1 kills with the Turan at close range, and you can really like cut down the forces that the Second Guards have in that sort of situation. By the way, potentially just a lack of experience on the division, but that's going to give Jagdsauce the second victory and therefore is the victor of the best of 3. Congratulations to him. Going to be getting his first point under the Vulcan Arena, and hopefully we'll be seeing more best of 3s between Titans in the future. But that's it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.